We are going to be starting the program in about 2 minutes. So there are some chairs here that you are more than happy to sit in. If you are speaking, we invite you to sit in the chairs up front. But grab your beverage and make your way into the main area. We will be starting the program here in just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Jay Walsh. Jay Walsh to the front desk, please. All right, we're going to get started soon. If you can hear this and you're not in the front cafe area, please come to the front and wrap up your conversations. I know they're probably amazing, but we're going to get started in the next 1 or 2 minutes, please. All right, we're going to start in 1 more minute. You should be able to still get drinks if you need to. Just do so quietly, please. This is being live streamed right now, so behave yourselves. There are people watching, recording. All right. Quiet in the back. All right, thank you. So the last time we had people come over for a visit, the air conditioner didn't work. It was 100 degrees. Good news, we fixed the air conditioner. And while we were at it, we did a few more things around here, so we hope you like what we've done with the place. No, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Doug Cruitt. I'm the executive director of Distillery Labs here, and I'm so grateful and so happy to be standing up here to welcome you to this beautiful space. It's been a long journey, which you'll hear some more details about. A lot of things happened before my time, and so many of you in this room made that happen. So my hat's off to all of you to kind of keep that torch going, to keep it moving forward. It's just truly amazing. So there's a few things that I'd like to talk to you about today, well, my short time up here. And really just it boils down to three kind of key phrases or things. There's something called liminal space, and then there's something called deserving, and then there's something called choice or choosing. So I just really quickly want to touch through all of these things. Real quick, housekeeping items though. Bathrooms are over there. We also have men and women's up on the second floor. Drinks are over there under the beautiful copper distill feature. And then if you've not made it back to the commercial kitchen, there should be light appetizers back there made by Jeremy Washburn, who's opening up his new restaurant here in a couple weeks called Reservation. So thank you, Jeremy. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you. And if you've not toured the space, please do so afterwards. After the speaking, we aren't done then, so we want everyone to have an opportunity to walk through the space. So now that that's out of the way, I really want to kind of come back to this term called liminal space. And I'd never heard that term until I didn't read a book, but I listened to a book about 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What is that? So it's a concept that really, it captures the essence of being in between. So what is now and what will be or could be or should be. So it's this space between the really now and what can be. And I think that is a fun thing to think about of this moment right here, like this moment right here, what this means for our city, our region, and our state. And we'll hear more about the connective tissue that exists here throughout the state and what an impact we will have, not just out of this building, but across the community, across the region, and across the state. So what it is it's not just the building though. It's really a launch pad for the next generation of innovators, visionaries, thinkers, tinkerers, doers, anybody that wants to come in here, take their idea off the back of that napkin and do something with it. And so one thing that I've noticed is we've been giving tours once a week for like 3 months now, and ranging in size from 2 people walking through to 25 to just last week we had 70 people in this building, which is a fun story. So ask Chris or myself or anybody else that was here. We had a lot of good things come out of that meeting. But what I noticed is as we were touring people through, what I kept hearing was, and I would think of myself, like, I can't believe this is in Peoria. Like, I can't believe this is in Peoria, especially once the furniture got in. Is this still on? There we go. Can't believe it's in Peoria. And yes, I don't disagree with that, but I think that's where we need to really stop and say, this should be in Peoria. Why not? We deserve this. This is not just a Chicago thing or a Boulder thing or a Silicon Valley thing. This is a Peoria region thing. And thank you. And so we really, I think that then plays in well to that last term of choice and choosing, that because we're in this time, in this space between what is now and what will be, and because we are deserving, then we should now choose that Peoria will be known as one of the greatest startup communities in the world, not just in the state. And I think that that's a choice that we get to make, right? It's at one point in time, we were the whiskey capital of the world. Thus the name Distillery Labs. And then we weren't. At one point in time, we were the diesel engine or earth mover capital of the world. And granted, we still have a massive presence from that organization here, but to some people, now we're not. And so I think we have such a great opportunity to choose a new identity. It doesn't have to be our only one, but choose a new identity as we are the innovation capital of the world. We are the place that you want to come to if you're a startup founder. We're going to support your mental health. We're going to support you by connecting you with others. We're going to educate, motivate, inspire, connect. Those are the things that we're going to do here, and it's a community effort. One thing you'll notice with our space, so what we are all standing in right now, this is open to the community during normal business hours, so anybody can walk in that door. We have a locally owned coffee shop, Cafe Santa Rosa. The Vidals will be operating this right here. So like any other coffee shop, you walk in, you grab your coffee, you sit down. It just so happens that our coffee shop has 27,000 square foot attached to it of an innovation hub. So while you're sitting there and you're having your coffee, you look back there, you're going to see people from OSF Innovation tinkering on things back there. You're going to see Generator, a national venture capital firm back there. You're going to see, we already have 40 plus local founders that will be operating out of the co-working space. You're going to see the GPEDC, their resources housed in here. You're going to see the Chamber of Commerce, their resources housed in here. You're going to see the Women's Business Development Center housed in here. So as a founder, if those of you that don't know me, I've been a founder for a couple decades now. It is hard. It is really, really hard. And one of the hardest things is how do you navigate the ecosystem? So to boil it all down, that's what we want to do. We want to improve the ease of navigation. And so I just want to wrap this up again, for my time anyway, to say thank you all so much for showing up today. This is, to me, this is proof that you're choosing to have interest in what our entrepreneurs, small businesses, and founders are doing. And I encourage you to keep choosing that every day, that, you know, we can and we will become one of the greatest startup communities in the world, no doubt about it. So thank you. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Bob Sering, the CEO of OSF.
So sorry. Don't know. He's innovative. He was trying something different. So, well, thank you all for coming here today. And isn't this place spectacular? Now, as Doug said, I'm the CEO for OSF Healthcare, so I get to see this place often because our building is right across the street. You'll notice we're a little bit different in that we are known as the White Building. This should be known and will be known as the Black Building, but this is where the innovation happens. And what fantastic space it is. Now, I'm not sure if it's just because I'm the old guy up here, but I get to play historian today. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the history. Trust me, it won't take that long, although if you lived through it, it seemed forever before we got to today, because you have to go back to 2016. And that's when really the thinking about investing in innovation, creating space. And so it really started as a project known as Catalyst, which was funded through a $50,000 feasibility grant from US EDA. The study the locations for a tech incubator. Where was the right space? And again, think about that. It's almost 10 years ago. We were trying to determine where was the best space. Now, we didn't start out with focus on this space, but again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let me go back to the history. The grant, that $50,000 grant, was matched by Caterpillar. So thanks to Caterpillar. And it really resulted in a study. And at first, the original location was planned for an old cat building that was located in the southern part of the warehouse district. It might have been nice, would have been nice, but it wouldn't have been this building, and it certainly wouldn't have been as nice as this building turned out. 2017, the University of Illinois launched Discovery Partners Institute, DPI, and the Illinois Innovation Network. And again, those of you who are not familiar with that, received a significant amount of funding in order to think again about innovation across the state. And how do we really build that out across the state? And so the DPI was developed in Chicago. And then UIUC and Peoria thought of ourselves as hubs down here, so over in Champaign and here in Peoria. And actually today, there are 12 hubs outside of Chicago that again provide this network that connect folks from across Illinois who are thinking about innovation, who are trying to become founders, but in the beginning stages, it's really, as Doug described, It's that back of the napkin, and how do we change that into more than just an idea? How do you continue to work through that? 2018, in May, the Peoria Innovation Hub, which is what it was known as before the Distillery Lab, it kicked off, and it kicked off at OSF's JUMP Innovation Center, a simulation center. And it was at that point that this building, the ICC Thomas Building, for those who remember the name here, it was selected as the new location. So again, great thanks to ICC and all the work that they have done, including this particular building. And at that time, a white paper and a funding request was submitted to the University of Illinois to try to access part of the large, significant grant that was set aside for DPI. As the first chairman of the Peoria Innovation Hub, I was pleased to call to order our inaugural board meeting, which is all the way back in February 14th, 2019. And that began the long, torturous road filled with paperwork and more paperwork. So it started with the approval of the Articles of Incorporation. So yes, we had to incorporate. We had to submit an application to the IRS to become a 501c3 so we could operate as a not-for-profit. And that just continued on and on and on with the various grants. Around that time, the Illinois General Assembly looked favorably on our application and appropriated $10 million for the Peoria Innovation Hub at the end of their legislative session back in May 2019. And then finally, some of you may have been here for this. In November 2019, Governor Pritzker visited here in Peoria, actually in this space, to announce his personal commitment and obviously the legislature's commitment to the $10 million in state funding being devoted to this project. 2020. Well, now we're talking about history that just wasn't related to the Peoria Innovation Hub or to be the Distillery Labs. It was the pandemic. That put a whole host of challenges and roadblocks in the way. But throughout it, and again, great credit to this community, to the folks who are involved in innovation and development. They managed through COVID to continue to keep hope alive, to keep the flame alive for this center. And we selected an architectural and design firm to begin to lay out this particular building and all of the workspace that's in it. And through much work with the community across the board, not just the space, but what needed to be in here. So, similar to the commercial kitchen that's in the back and the importance of that. Similar to the podcast studio that I understand is up on the next floor. And a whole host of other things. And yes, some things were left off the list. Some important things that we certainly want to get back to. But funding and budgets and increases in construction costs, those are all realities. But great choices were made in bringing the space together. Again, you may remember in 2021, because it was well announced throughout here, Paul Lehman joined Distillery Labs at that point in January, and the expected opening date of this building was later on that year in 2021. We missed it by just a little bit. But again, think about all of the impact from COVID had on construction, on people, on continuing to develop here. USEDA announced an additional $2 million grant for this project. And OSF, Peoria County, and others launched G-Beta as the first Distillery Labs programming in the fall of 2021. And I'd say the first of many. 2022, design, engineering, construction, planning, and program continued throughout the year. That sounds like just one sentence, but trust me, there was an awful lot of work that went into that particular year. And then 2023, Doug Pruitt joined Distillery Labs as its second executive director. And just for a round of applause for him, tomorrow is his first anniversary here with us. So thank you, Doug. Construction finally begins in 2023, August 17th to be precise, August 17th, 2023, with a hammer-swinging demolition ceremony. Now, oftentimes you have the shovel and you throw some dirt and so forth. This was a little different. Again, maybe it's an innovation lab, so therefore it should have been. So we started with swinging hammers in the back, actually, where the kitchen is now. And that was quite a bit of fun. It took out some of the frustration for the length of time it took us to get here. But that does bring us to today and celebrating the grand opening of Distillery Labs. Yes, it was a little later than 2021, but this is a great day nonetheless. And so congratulations to all that were involved. I want to conclude my remarks today with really a heartfelt thank you. I've mentioned a number of organizations already and their contributions, but I'd be remiss, in addition to the US EDA, Illinois State Innovation Hub, and Caterpillar, as well as the collaborative work with University of Illinois and the Illinois Innovation Center, and G-Beta, which I had already said once, but I wanted to make sure we got them in, got in again. But I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize significant operational support provided by Peoria County, the City of Peoria, the Gilmore Foundation, and a company across the street called OSF. So all of it has been a labor of love, a true labor of love. The space is outstanding. Really more so than the space is what it does for this community and bringing the folks together. And I think we all heard quite a bit of that as we first walked in, and the level of noise that was in here is always a good recognition of the conversations that are going to happen in this space, that the people are going to who work collaboratively together. It's that collision, the casual collision of people together. And so my great thanks to all those who have been involved in this project all along, to Doug Pruitt and getting us to the finish line. And then, of course, all those who are going to inhabit this space and do some wonderful, innovative work. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Mayor Rita Ali to come up and say a few words, please.
Thank you. And thank you to Bob Searing for his tremendous leadership as the chair and overseer over this entire project. Thank you for your tremendous leadership, Bob. Let's give him a hand. I simply want to say congratulations and thank you to all of those that have been instrumental in any way in causing this great, amazing place to come to fruition. There's, as Bob indicated, that history is helpful. There's a lot of partners, a lot of collaboration that caused this to come to fruition today. And I remember some of those times when there was no director and Mr. Chris Setti stepped in twice, I believe, to serve as the interim director. Yeah. Chris was working 2 jobs for a long time, so I told him earlier, I said, you could have had, I think, 2 babies, like 9 months and 9 months. So yeah, it's a birthing for him today. But you know, this is going to be an economic driver. It's amazing that it is in Peoria. It's going to be an economic driver for the city as well as for the region, Peoria region. And it's just amazing. And I just want to thank and congratulate everyone who has played a part. And I'm just overwhelmed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
I do want to say, I trust your leadership.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a great asset to Peoria.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Can we make T-shirts that say that?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, a man that needs no introduction, Mr. Interim himself, Chris Setti, a true friend as well as a coworker.
Well, good afternoon. There may be nobody more excited than me to see this day come. I can't believe it's already been a year. That means it's been a year since I've been the executive director. So very happy, though, to see so many friends and familiar faces, and quite frankly, see some folks that I don't know because I think this is going to be a place for friends and strangers to come together and work together. So I'm kind of the thank you guy, and both Mayor Ali and Mr. Searing kind of mentioned that, but there are just so many people that have been involved in this. And if I start counting out names, I'm going to miss somebody. So if your name's not mentioned here, it's not because you weren't a part of it. It's because we only have so much time and I only have so much memory. But 8 years ago, this was started by my predecessor at the Economic Development Council, Jennifer Daly, along with Jake Hammond and Amy Lambert and the folks at Startup Peoria, who had this vision of a public place that would be the center for innovation. And it took a lot of people from them, and there was a whole group of folks that were involved in that early catalyst, from Caterpillar and the Regional Office of Education and Arts Partners, and so many different groups that were involved way back then. I was on that team from the city of Peoria at the time. And to have the perseverance over the last 8 years through lots of interesting times, a pandemic, a supply chain problem, the loss of leadership, and it's been so refreshing to see how the resilience of this community in what is overall minor problems, but major problems for this initiative, and to see what this will become in the next few years, as early as next week when people start operating here. I had said this to a few folks that the program and the people are what's going to make this place important. But the building is important as well. And the building is a symbol, and maybe more than a symbol, recognition of our investment as a region, not just the city of Peoria, but the entire Greater Peoria region, in an idea that we can be, as Doug pointed out, choosing to be the world's leader in innovation. We have great innovation assets. We have an amazing company like Caterpillar that designs the products of tomorrow. We have a great healthcare institution like OSF, working on medical breakthroughs. We have the Ag Lab. We have Bradley University and ICC, and all of these great institutions and all these great minds that work for them. How do we harness that? How do we take that Midwestern work ethic and innovation and harness that in a facility like this and make that a possibility? My organization, as a planning organization, is really thinking about the long-term economic structure of Greater Peoria. And it's really all about resiliency, and my friends from EDA will hopefully appreciate this, that it's all about resiliency, and resiliency comes from diversification, and diversification comes from innovation. And can we create new companies that helps broaden our economy and make us stronger? So to all of you who were a part of Catalyst, or Distillery Labs, or Peoria Innovation Hub, NFP, or whatever we were calling it at the time, thank you. An additional shout out to the men and women who physically worked on this building, because I think they don't often get the recognition. We had a great, thank you. We had a great design team in Gensler, a world-renowned architecture firm based in Chicago, but then locally here, the Farnsworth Group. Our construction manager was Point Core, that did such a phenomenal job wrangling all of the different subcontractors, all of whom were local, that worked on this. Lincoln office did all of the furniture. Just a really great group of people. So again, thank you to everybody in this room. All of you have been a supporter in one way or another, or else you wouldn't have known that this was happening today. So thank you all very much. I'll turn it back over to Doug.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to invite Jay Walsh with the Illinois Innovation Network.
What a great crowd here. The first time I came here was in 2020. I wore a mask, as we all were at that time. But in this place, it was for a very good reason. It was really dusty. They were working on this place. It was the original purpose of the mask that I bought at Home Depot. Or maybe it was a hospital, I don't think so. It is phenomenal to be here, to walk through this space and see it. I came about an hour and a half ago. You all weren't here. It was empty. It was quiet. And I popped into one of the offices here because this is part of the Illinois Innovation Network, and I needed to get some work done, and I'm part of the Illinois Innovation Network, so I figured I could work here. And then I woke up from 5 meetings, and yeah, it's wonderful to see you all here. I have seen this go through several phases, as Bob so nicely pointed out. There was an initial concept, there was appropriations, there was further concepts, there was a release of the funds, like this is all linear. And then there was redesign, and more opinions came in as to what to do, and I'm sure all those opinions were well appreciated. Then you actually had the build, and I saw some of the build and wore a mask for that. And then this happens. You have a celebration of an opening with a community that shows incredible support for this. So I'm so happy to be here. The Illinois Innovation Network, I should spend at least 30 seconds explaining that. 15 hubs across the state. Most of them are associated with public universities. The hub here is associated with the university, Bradley, and also with OSF and a few other local organizations, which is absolutely fantastic, incredibly innovative and moving forward. It is the first of the hubs that is opening. So that deserves a round of applause. The other hubs are at the 3 universities associated with the University of Illinois, so that would be Chicago, Springfield, Urbana-Champaign. There's also a hub associated with the system, that's DPI, which was mentioned, and one out in Peoria. We have a campus, Peoria, yeah, that's where I am, Jay. Out in Rockford, where we also have a campus. And then there are a few other hubs, northern, southern, eastern, western, northeastern, Chicago State, Governor State, Illinois State. So, and if you can say it that fast, you've been to them all, which I have. And I welcome you to drive several thousand miles a year in state and join me on tours of all of those. I look forward to further celebrations, and you're all welcome as we open up the other ones. But for now, congratulations on being the first of the IIN hubs out of the chute. Doug, phenomenal. Chris, phenomenal. Thank you.
That's how we do things in Peoria, right? All right, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. And that this is truly us being connected within the connection of connections, the network of networks, the Illinois Innovation Network. We have not tapped into that resource yet. It is going to unlock immense innovation for us locally, and be able to, for us to export a lot of our talent throughout this network, as well as bring in talent and treasures from outside in. So super grateful for that. Next, I'd like to bring up Susan Brim. She's with the EDA to say a few words about their very important involvement with this process.
Thanks, everyone. I hope that you were all as amazed when you walked in here as I was. I was here a couple of years ago, and there was a lot of dust, and there were a lot of cubicles, and it really is inspiring to see the kind of work that's happened, and really the anchor that's being created in Peoria. I mean, this will really bring extensive change and build on the economy that you have in ways that you're not even expecting yet. So really appreciate all that you all have brought to this. I want to talk a little bit about how EDA got here, and I want to acknowledge Jeanette Tamayo, who was responsible for the initial feasibility study that allowed us to get to this point. And we really have been with Peoria and with all of your partners since that time in 2016. So again, like, very happy. It's always great to be able to see the fruits of your labor, or at least the fruits of the federal government's funding. But all of this happens because you have a great planning organization that brings together partners from across your area and really creates a comprehensive economic development strategy that guides all of the work that you're doing. And I know one of the pillars in that strategy is around innovation and entrepreneurship, and understanding the diversification of your economy that comes from that, and the strength that gets built from that diversified economy. So finally, just want to acknowledge Loy Lee, who was the civil engineer for this project on our team at the Economic Development Administration, and really just thrilled with everything I'm seeing tonight and can't wait to take the tour. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to invite Nicholas Klein to come up from the Capital Development Board.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful evening to see everyone here. On behalf of the Illinois Capital Development Board, I'm thrilled to be here and see and celebrate the opening here of the Distillery Labs and see how it's such an incredible addition and the beginning of the Illinois Innovation Network being rolled out. We want to thank Governor Pritzker and the Illinois General Assembly for providing $10 million to renovate and purchase this space and be the first of the 15 hubs that will be going on to really spur on a lot of education, job creation, and economic growth. And from there, this investment really shows that entrepreneurship is so critical for the future of a variety of specialty businesses that really serve underrepresented populations in Central Illinois. This space will empower a network of businesses that have leaders, founders to engage in community outreach, have a lot of collaboration around ideas and research, and I'm confident that the Distillery Labs will be an incredible resource for Illinois citizens and have a lasting impact on the local economy. There will be a lot of things brewing here for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Appreciate that. All right. So you can't have a ribbon cutting without cutting a ribbon. So did anybody bring scissors? All right. So, but before we do that, one last thank you to you all for showing up, for choosing in Greater Peoria. And as you'll see some of these slides up here, like that one there, that's the connection we have throughout the state. Resources literally all over the state. Things come to us, things go to them from here. This is our G-Beta Distillery Lab. So we are not just a Peoria thing. As you can see there, we have founders all the way from Champaign to Galesburg, across the river, East Peoria, Morton. So this is not a downtown Peoria thing. This is, yes, we're in the heart of downtown, we're in the heart of Central Illinois, and we're in the heartland of America. And I have full confidence that what happens within this building and in this community will have a far reach throughout not just our nation, but the world, quite frankly. So thank you all for showing up. Tours are at your leisure. So if you've not walked through, I encourage you to walk through, grab yourself, if there are more drinks, or if, oh, I see Craig back there, there probably is. And then appetizers back in the maker space. So thank you so much for showing up. And without further ado, I think we'll now start the ribbon cutting. On the fly here. If there are any founders, startup founders that want to come up here, come on up. Startup founders, come up. Any other Distillery Labs board members? Get up in here, get up in here. You guys see this? I know there's more founders in here. Come on up. This is your building.
Yes.